I figure I'd take it upon myself to go and do a follow-up video to what I did talking about the FCC net neutrality and everything about it, considering that a lot of people don't seem to be educated on exactly how badly this will affect anything and everything that you do that has to do with the internet. And this isn't just the internet whenever you're at home. This will actually go and span off into a lot of other things, such as schooling and what you do on your mobile devices and what you do professionally at work. This can get very bad, so that's going to be the entire point to this. Firstly, the baddest part about this is that they are essentially going to take everything about your internet bill and anything that's a high traffic website or something that uses up a lot of bandwidth, they're kind of going to itemize individually and end up charging you more, and the end result is going to be an internet bill that goes from like $50 or $60 going to be like double and exponentially higher than it should be, all for the sake of the internet service provider pocketing all the money. And that's who gets all this money at the end of the day. You know, companies like Comcast or Verizon, they're the only ones that are profiting out of this. And the only motherfuckers out of those companies that end up profiting at the end of the day are the CEOs that sit at the top. So basically, it's something that's only meant to benefit the few and fuck over swarms, hundreds of millions of people out there, without any single care whatsoever of the end result, which is essentially fucking over everyone. So, say, for example, you're on YouTube right now. YouTube would be something that they would charge you extra for. Say you go on to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr, anything like that, any social media website, which a lot of people do sit on for a very long time, that's going to cost extra. If you go on something like Amazon or eBay and you purchase things off there, that's going to cost you extra. If you go online, play games on your Xbox, your PlayStation, onto Steam on your PC, that's all going to cost extra. And again, all this is on top of any and all the other fees. Like, it costs money to go and, you know, play games on your PlayStation and your Xbox. Well, guess what? It's going to cost money on top of that. And that extra money, again, is only going towards the internet service provider and nobody else. And it's all coming out of your fucking pocket. That's the bad part about it. Nobody's actually getting anything out of this. This is just meant to literally screw people over. And the people that are meant to actually protect us from this bullshit, the FCC, they're in the pocket of these big-ass corporations. They're supposed to be there on behalf of individuals like you and me. The mass populace, they're meant to actually, they're supposed to protect them, do they? No. Not in this kind of an instance. No, we're being fucked over by something like that. And you might be wondering, well, you know, why bother with something like this? Do you think sitting on your ass with your fucking thumb up your ass, do you really just sit there thinking that ultimately that that's going to be better? Like, you can't even take the fucking time to fill out a goddamn form just to voice your concern? The very bare minimum that's asked of you, you can't even do that? What the fuck is wrong with you then? Then, there's this. You might think, oh, this is just going to affect, you know, just one portion of things. No. The internet, if it's going to affect that, let's move on over to mobile. Okay, mobile phone, you get, what, an unlimited plan that's like 60 bucks or so? Okay, now tack on all those additional fees for the things that you end up using your phone for whenever you're online just fucking about. And then all of a sudden your phone bill is now $120 versus the $60 that it used to be. And why is that? All because the FCC decided that they were going to go ahead with this. With a 3-2 vote, mind you. And they knew goddamn well that this was going to fuck over everybody. And why is it happening? Because people are greedy and want a whole bunch of money. That's all it is. Just a bunch of old white men that don't understand the fucking world, that want their bank accounts to be much, much bigger. They want their wallets to be much fatter and could give a fuck less about you. They're so short-sighted and don't give a fuck about the long term. And the thing is, there's people freaking out over companies like, you know, Google and Netflix and all these other companies. Meanwhile, they don't want this shit to happen. But they're the ones that should honestly be stepping forward. Any company that is absolutely huge and is on the stock market, if they have shares on the stock market and you have a CEO step forward and say that they're absolutely against this, that is one of the best things that you could possibly ever have happen, and they should be doing it. As a matter of fact, if they get wind of something like this, which I don't know how they couldn't, you have to think about how this would fuck up their bottom line. Look at it like this. Say, for example, this all ends up going through, just for sake of argument. Say it all ends up going through. So these companies that end up running, you know, these big empires with websites and different companies that are all through the web, and they end up losing all that traffic because people can't afford the extra money for all the sites that the internet service providers ended up blacklisting and saying that, well, that's a high volume site, or, you know, that uses up a lot of bandwidth, we're going to require a lot of extra money. When people can't afford to pay those, they end up finding an alternate. So then those companies are losing out on a whole bunch of money, and they're not big companies anymore, and it's all because the fucking FCC and the government could really give a shit less. So how is this going to end up going beyond mobile? Well, I mean, people aren't made of money to begin with. We already fucking know that. But think about this. How many schools out there end up using internet? Fucking tons of them. I'm not talking about just college either. I'm talking about high school and middle school and elementary school. All of them actually end up using that. And guess what? This could end up making your tuition fees end up going up a whole lot higher. You could end up getting taxed a whole lot more. You could end up paying just basic taxes for the school system, which everybody does depending on what borough and city or township that you end up living in. You could end up paying more because of that, because of some dumb bullshit like this. So even if you said, well, I don't use the internet, yet there you are, ended up paying for it regardless, even though you don't use it whatsoever. So this is something that you might want to keep in mind. All those places that you like going to for free Wi-Fi, you like going downtown to big metropolitan cities and hanging out, and you go and take your iPad and you're fucking about on there, then suddenly, what? They can't afford to go and have that anymore because, guess what? It costs a whole lot of extra money. And if they did decide to go and have it, what if they ended up having a special tax all because of this increase there? Meaning that you would be paying again on top of that. And just think about how all of this stacks up. And it's all coming out of your pockets, my pockets. A whole lot of people in those fucking suits at the top could give a shit less. Because all they're doing is smoking cigars that cost more than a fucking car that you drive to the job that pays you monthly for a fucking meager wage. That those suits, they spend more than that on their fucking grocery bill. And this is exactly what you have to contend with. So this is all something that everybody should be worried about. Rich people, middle class people, for the few that there are, lower class people, all of you should be worried about it. Anything that's going to damn the many and benefit the fucking few that you can count on one goddamn hand, you should have a concern about. I hope at the very least that this video may have shed just a tad bit more light on a situation that you may not have been very knowledgeable of, because I know that I didn't know a whole lot about it just by reading it, you know, in black and white. But as I was delving deeper into this and just thinking about all the horrors that this could have a big domino effect and fuck over, that's when I started realizing everybody should know about it. The video that I made before, having the actual FCC, you know, shit that you can go and fill out and speak to them directly, please by all means share that video, share the content within it, the links to it. As a matter of fact, I even posted on there, the FCC has a Twitter handle, and I did end up going and saying something to them directly with the link to that video. And this right here, just something, share this knowledge with everybody and anybody that you know. I know that it might be a pain in the ass, and it might take time out of your day, but think about it like this. The few minutes out of your day that you take to go and do something like this will help you in the long run, because even though you might feel that you're only one person, or you only told 2 people, well, that's 3 people right there. And then you just times that by a whole shit ton more. Because people shouldn't take this lying down. Whenever you take shit lying down, that's when everybody ends up taking advantage of you. And shit just gets worse. So that's why I'm saying something, I'm just trying to do something. Because that's the very least that you can do. Anyway, that's this entire video. I hope that it helped you a whole bunch, because I thought that all of you would like to know.